You're listening to the Waypoint TV Podcast Network, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Hey everyone, this is Captain Steve Roger from Into the Blue TV. And as soon as I feel a little break from this heat, I know that hunting season is upon us. Actually, the first time I ever went hunting, a buddy took me. Wasn't my father or my grandfather. In fact, I took my father on his very first hunt. Well, Academy Sports and Outdoor Stores has everything to gear up for the field for less. Plus, you can shop a wide selection of ammo, shotguns, deer corn, rifle, feeder, game cameras, camo, and more from the brands you trust. Text HUNT24 to 22369 to take $20 off a $100 purchase when you shop hunting supplies at academy.com. Need a hunting license? Pick it up in store while you're shopping.
This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
All right, we're sitting here and we're just having a session talking about things that make you go, and things that make you go, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But pretty much we're just kind of talking about what's upcoming for our seasons and what it's shaping up to look like for us and kind of all that good stuff. I do want to talk about, before we get real serious about a conversation, I bought a bow press recently. It finally came. I have learned so much just doing my own stuff and screwing it up and having had to have a friend or two help me figure it out and fix it, that it's stuff once you screw it up, and I don't know if this is true with you, but if you do something, and I'm a firm believer in it, do something you're on your own and screw it up and learn how to fix it, you're going to learn so much more than somebody teaching you how to do it the first time, because now you've encountered problems that you normally wouldn't encounter. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
My dad was
Definitely.
a firm believer in that, or he just didn't want to do anything with me because he didn't like me when I was a kid. I don't know. But I'm just kidding on that one. But he would always let me screw stuff up and then be like, hey, if you would have done it this way, you could do this. This is how we fix it. All the time. And it used to make me so mad because I had friends that their dad would just show them and do things with them. Hey, let's go out in the garage and weld. Well, my dad would be like, well, go ahead and try it. And then, see what it turns out like. And it'd just be a massive blob of garbage. And he'd be like, well, now you get to learn how to use a grinder and fix things. And he's like, you see all that in there? That's porosity, just things like that. But I think it made me a better person, whether I like to admit it or not, just because I don't want to admit that my dad did that.
Yeah.
But
I think that's totally valid. I mean, I show my kids how to do things, but I also will sometimes, be like, how would you do it?
Right. Yeah. And I think that builds so much more in somebody, as long as you don't let them go so far that it's unrecoverable or whatever, But I think that's super important, and I think a lot of people don't get that. And it also shows later on in life that they didn't have that. Because some people don't have ambition to do things like that, or they just don't know how or don't have the will to even try.
Yeah.
But
Well,
anyway.
yeah. I mean, on that note, though, because of my current situation, I've been doing a lot of studying about dads, and this is kind of an interesting thing. And according to the science, dads actually supply a psychological framework for life and morality. And it's something that is literally not done by moms. So,
so that would explain people who, if you look statistically, and I'm not trying to blame anybody or anything like that, but in single parent household, especially when it's a mother raising the children, you tend to notice those people drift to crime. The children of that drift to crime a lot more and all that kind of stuff. Higher incarceration rates. I mean, that's all statistically proven. And it's kind of interesting to see that psychologically, that's why. You know, you always see the statistics on that situation, but never anything beyond that. And if you look at it in the psychological aspect, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. So that's pretty fascinating. So dads are all you dads out there. We're also important.
My biggest thing is sometimes I work so much that I feel like I'm just so left out. And you know what?
Yeah.
Like it hurts sometimes. It hurts when a kid will give you a cold shoulder and go to the mom instead because they're there emotionally more. Yeah.
Well, but you know, even just those little times are important for you, you know?
Yeah.
You're there. And I really am a firm believer in just saying no, and like the ability of like no to be like great for kids, you know?
Well, yeah, I tell my kids no all the time. Now my 7-year-old though is, well, why? Why not? Why no? Well, why does that matter? I'm just going to do this instead then. And I'm like, no, that's the same thing I just told you no about. She is a boundary pusher, man. I don't know where she gets it. Maybe it's me. Maybe I just don't see it because it's myself. You know, a lot of times we never look introspectively. You know what I mean? You always look to try and blame somebody else when really you're the one who is just like that and questions everything. And I'm not saying it's not a bad thing to question everything. It's just exhausting as a parent.
Oh yeah. I 100%, like if I had to parent me as a child, I would have just like strangled me in the bath.
Honestly, yeah, no, I could totally see why my dad would get frustrated with me as much as he did. I mean, some of the stuff I would do was just so stupid. And it was only out of pure anger and defiance. There's no other logical reason for it. A lot of the things I've done as a child. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yep, definitely, man. But we were talking about potentially having a like a less great hunting season this year because I'm unfortunately probably not going to have as much time due to life circumstances, and I'm going to be working a whole bunch. This Saturday is the opening day of duck season here in my zone.
It's going to suck anyway. Let's be honest. Opening day normally sucks. It's too hot.
Yeah.
Ducks aren't flying. You know what I mean? Yeah. Unless you've got some spot that you flooded that's got grain all over next to it.
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
no, you're right. You're right. There's usually
now I get it. Ritualistically, it's great because it's the opener and everybody loves to go out. But just keep telling yourself how crappy it's going to be. I haven't been out for deer yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Opener already happened. I've been at work working, doing other things, then doing a bunch of family commitments, and on top of that, I've been trying to clean my freezer out, and I've been canning meat like a mofo for like the past week, you know, every other day or whatever. I'm taking stuff out, letting it thaw. We love eating white people tacos in this house, and even not
white people tacos, yeah.
But not just white people tacos, but also I guess gringo taco would probably be the correct term. But
so they have mayonnaise on them.
No, that's disgusting. I didn't say French tacos or Canadian tacos, you weirdo.
Well, Canadian, they'd have like gravy on them or something.
Oh, true. Yeah, not mayo. French tacos would probably be mayonnaise, but no. I just been trying to get the meat out. So I think I got like 14 quarts or something like that of just taco meat. So like I cook it and get it like brown and then put the seasoning in and put like as much water that you would normally cook down that water, but then like shut the pan off at that point after it's mixed well. And then I pressure can it. Dude, it's actually better because it's more tender. Even ground is tender anyway, but it almost reminds me of like a better version of like Taco Bell. Like
wow.
You know what I mean? Like just the white
such
people
high
tacos.
Praise.
White people tacos. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you're doing the hard shell.
Not just hard shell though. We do soft shells. Plus, I love making nachos. Whatever, you know.
Nachos are good. Yeah.
I love nachos. So just use up the ground like that. We use a lot of it, so I figured I'd do a lot of that. And then I've been taking out roast, and I've been just cooking it as roast. So then you dump it in the pan, heat it up, pull the meat out, and then make gravy out of it, all that stuff. Of course, the carrot thing, that's going to be a little tricky. Probably have to like steam some or something. Whatever. Anyway, been just trying to clean out the freezer.
Yeah. Holy crap. So you can can ground beef. I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, the key, it's not a rule that you have to cook it first. You can. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you can't raw pack ground beef. No, you can. It just comes out looking like one big solid blob of dog food. And texturally, it is unappealing. Is it edible? Yes.
Yeah, I told you, I think I talked about it here on the podcast one time. We tried canning a couple of years ago. I pressure canned some venison.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I want to try it out. You know, I want to have some meat. And it tasted like straight up dog food.
A few things you did there. One, did you can it in water?
Yeah, I probably.
Mistake number one. I spent a whole entire Saturday from like early morning until night making bone broth. And I took all of my soup bones, which I had way more than I thought. Like, I thought maybe I had like 6 or 7. No, I had like 18 or 20 soup bones that were beef soup bones, right? So I took all of those out. I freaking oiled them up, salt, pepper, threw them in the oven, baked them for like 4.5 hours, and then I started a stock, and I let it go. And in fact, I shut it off and went to bed and got up early the next morning and threw it and kept going. Because it was still hot. Like, the next day, it was still hot. That's how much, because it was a giant vat. I don't know, like, it might be like a 5-gallon pot. It's a lot.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Anyway, so next morning, started it up again, stayed up late doing it, and then just let it go. So it was like actual bone broth. Marrow came out of them real nice and everything. And then I canned that. But I used a lot of that broth to can the other things as well. So raw packed all kinds of stuff. And then I did Italian beefs again, too. I love Italian beefs in the thing. And then all you got to do is toast up a nice bun of some sort and dump that on there with some jardiniere, maybe some cheese if you want it. Fantastic.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my pressure canner does not function as it's a glorified water bath canner now.
Why? What doesn't function on it?
The pressure doesn't work. You know, it's just like the little doodad on the top doesn't. I can't. It doesn't make any pressure. So if like I've tried to like literally clamp it down with clamps.
So
and
does
it
just
have
doesn't... a seal ring?
Yes, it's good. All that stuff I checked. It's just like I basically should have splurged and got the better quality.
I buy the cheapo Presto ones. If it's a Presto one, that's not the problem. The problem is either you got too much weight on it. Is it? Or
no,
is it
there's no
one...
weight. It's one of those like twist you turn and it like there's no weight.
Oh.
Yeah, so I need to. Yeah, it's like a junky one. But I got to get one because a few years ago I did pressure canned sucker, and I liked that throughout the season. You know, I had that the whole year. That tasted really good. And the bones dissolved and all that stuff.
I would need to try and can some fish. I know. To me, it's just a weird hang up, but like I eat tuna out of the can. But then again, I only like white tuna. I don't like the dark tuna. I like the albacore tuna, you know?
Yeah. So do you like tuna steaks?
Yes.
Tuna steaks are so good.
I love tuna steaks. In fact, I was looking in the freezer and I've got a pack of tuna steaks in there that I'm thinking about. I got to get out and cook probably this weekend.
Yeah. So that one for sure. Like if I could somehow in my life catch a tuna.
That is one of my bucket list items, Clay, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Catching a tuna, catching a swordfish, which I mean that's more realistic probably for me than catching a tuna because say one day you say, hey, babe, let's go down to Mexico for a honeymoon, or you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and then you go out and you can catch one. But for catching a tuna, I think that would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, what you just said though is very funny. Like that just shows like the type of wife you have. You know, let's go to Mexico, and then you're able to like go and
For one day. And you know what I would have
yeah.
to do? Here's the thing, though. It's all about compromise. So at some point, I would have to be like, all right, here's the plan. I've booked you a spa day. You're going to
Yeah.
go do that. I'll be back by dinner. We'll go somewhere nice.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I've got 4 kids. I don't see that happening anytime in the future, but
Yeah.
more towards my twilight golden years, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've already envisioned that. Yeah. No, she occasionally, like, we were in Florida. We went on vacation with the kids. We were trying to do something with them before the other baby came, you know. We went to Florida. She let me sneak away for one day.
Mhm.
And it was a full day. I didn't get back until like bedtime for the kids. But I did get out with my buddy who's a captain down in Florida, Captain Pete. So, yeah, that was fun. And I caught fish, and then she was happy about it because normally my wife doesn't like eating fish, but I made blackened grouper and blackened snapper, and she was all about it. She's like, wow, that's so good. She's like, oh, saltwater catch is so much better than freshwater.
I have to agree. Unfortunately.
No, I 100% agree too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're good. I mean, we have 2 fish here that I really love.
Whitefish?
I was gonna say lake trout and burbot.
Yeah, that's awesome because burbot's like they call it lingcod, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's see, the only 2 fish like I don't ever go like I'm not like salivating like oh God, I can't wait to like catch a smallmouth bass and take that home and greedily eat it up.
I'm not saying I haven't eaten one before because I have.
I have to.
In fact, I ate a largemouth once.
I've eaten both.
I caught it and I fell and hit my back on the corner of the live well in the boat because the bolts of the seat snapped off. And I was just so upset. I'm like, I went through all this trouble reeling this fish in. I'm going to eat it.
And then later you're like, ew.
Yeah, I was like, wasn't that good of a choice. I should have let him go. But yeah, no big deal.
Yeah. I don't know. When you season like a lot of things, they taste pretty good. You know, like I think the last time I ate a bass, I think like I caught like a largemouth bass and I ate it.
Yeah.
And I just made tacos and just like seasoned
just
it.
Like plain meat though, like no breading, didn't deep fry it, no.
Didn't deep fry it. No, just cooked it in like I don't know, like chili powder and cumin and
it's kind of
all that stuff.
Softish meat though, like.
Yeah, I know. And then you just like kind of mix it in with like cilantro and onions and all that
I
stuff.
guess if you did that, like some type of citrus slaw on top, you wouldn't even notice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be as bad.
So no, I think it was totally fine. But I don't know. There's some foods though, like for me, like I guess I've never really rung it said like what my most disgusting food would be, but probably coot. You know.
Yeah. Don't they taste like kind of disgusting, like fishy and dirt?
Yep, dude. It's like possibly the worst meat I've ever ingested.
Over otter?
Over otter. Yeah, coot was that bad.
Whoo! That's a whole new level.
which like I actually would give it a chance again though. I hear Cajun cooking, they eat coots,
Yeah.
down in Louisiana, and I'm like, I don't know how they eat it. I would give it a shot though to see.
There's a lot of stuff that they eat but they also almost everything it seems like in Cajun cooking at some point is either deep fried or buried in some type of roux.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, and on top of that, like, I used to watch that guy on Instagram or TikTok or one of them, but it was like, oh, old son, yeah, put some Old Bay in it, old son, and then he'd dump a bunch of like Bush Light in there too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you drown anything in enough spices, I guess you're gonna get rid of the nastiness.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the case with Asian cuisine a lot of times too, though.
Really?
Like you put enough chilies and other things and like sweet sauces with chilies, you don't know you're eating an otter or a dog or, you know.
Mm. They're eating the dogs.
Cats and dogs. They're eating them.
Yeah.
Fact checkers. Nope. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. I don't believe anybody. So.
Yeah. I don't care.
Neither do I.
Don't matter to me. You know what? I would encourage people to eat the cats. There's they kill 3 billion songbirds a year.
Wow. Is that just some number you made up, or is that like a
No.
real actual number?
No, I think that's like the actual number that people like have scientists have, estimated.
Yep.
Right now, Luke is, for those of you who are not able to see, he's got a Bowie knife and he was just picking his tooth with his Bowie knife.
It's not a Bowie knife, it's a World War II.
Oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, issue knife.
Oh, check this out. Hold on. I actually think I have.
It's just I fidget with things as we talk, and the thing that I saw on the table, it's almost the same exact knife. It's a K-bar, yeah.
Yeah. I got a K-bar. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So we're just playing with K-bars over here as we talk, twirling them around our fingers. Because I like to fidget.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I got distracted because you had it in your teeth, man.
I was just doing that for dramatic effect to mess with you, really.
But I totally lost my train of thought.
It's fine. So let's talk about the fact that I learned so much. I screwed things up. I had to have people help me fix it. I learned not necessarily always being in spec is right if your bow isn't completely in tune when it's in spec. Lots of things like that. Moving your peep just a slight amount. Also, you should always press your bow before you move your peep because it puts undue stress and wear upon the string. All kinds of good little nuggets in there. I always thought, because normally when you sight in a rifle, you always chase where you're hitting. You know what I mean? So, if you're shooting left, you go left. Mm-hmm. But when you're nock tuning, because it's the back of the arrow when you're bare shaft tuning, it's the back of the arrow, so you actually go opposite direction to bring that over. Interesting.
So while you release, if you wanted it to
when you release, you have a rest on your bow,
mm-hmm.
and that bow rest, or whisker biscuit in your case if you did shoot. I think that's what you told me you had a long time ago. But if you shoot the bare unfletched arrow in a piece of paper and say the nock is to the left, and correct me if I'm wrong, somebody can message in and say that, but if it shoots to the left, you don't go to the left. You actually go to the right to bring it back to center.
Prime Big Deal Days is here with exclusive savings just for Prime members.
Woohoo!
Involuntary deal squeals can happen, like the deal on travel mug squeal. The deal on a new blender squeal. Yeah! Or the classic deal on electric toothbrushes squeal.
Oh, yeah! Woo!
Save big on electronics, fashion, and more this Prime Big Deal Days. On now.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, as it tears through paper. Yes. But with a bullet, when you're on a scope, you chase it. So if your bullet hits left, you adjust left, and eventually that will become center.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it had me a little messed up, but then after learning and doing it, and so I went through the whole entire tuning process. I learned how to tie my own knocking points, my own D-loop. I learned how to tie in and set the timing of my cable-driven release.
Wow.
All kinds of nuggets in there that was just fascinating. And I'd like to have somebody on where we could actually talk about that and educate somebody with tips, like the listener as well, and myself, with tips and tricks of that as you go along.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a fun one.
If anybody knows of anybody that nerdy.
I do.
Tell
I know
them
a couple of people, yeah. Yeah, I do actually know a couple of people that I'll reach out to, but that was one of the things I picked up on. And then, yeah, you were talking about like not being able to get out during hunting season and stuff. I mean, sometimes that's just the season of life we're in, and it sucks in the moment, but then you realize like you sacrificed for the better thing at that point, or maybe not the better thing, because sometimes your mental health does struggle through that, right? Like to me, when I'm out and I'm hunting season, that's like the best therapy I can get. It's just that solitude in the woods, sweating a little bit, working myself trying to get where I'm going, challenging myself mentally, trying to figure out that animal, and then getting up and just enjoying that sunrise, enjoying that sunset, being at one with the nature. That to me is like a huge reset. My November, October, end of October, or like first 2 weeks of November are like my biggest decompressor of the entire year.
Yeah.
I did sacrifice quite a few of them, like when I was trying to save up, trying to buy a house, trying to, establish a life. Like there was probably, and then once I bought my house, it was like I had so much work to do on it. I think I didn't hunt for like 4 or 5 seasons.
Wow.
Probably 5, I think. Like maybe
Holy
I went out
moly.
once or twice during one of them. And then all of a sudden I told my wife, I looked at her, I'm like, I'm going to hunt this season. And she's like, what? What do you mean? You don't do that anymore? I said, no, I didn't do that because I had other things I had to do. I said, we're in a spot now. And then she's like, what? Wait a minute. And for the longest time, she played like the victim of the like hunting spouse, like, oh,
yeah,
it's hunting season. I'm a single mother, like.
Yeah.
And
what do they call it? There's a term for it. It's a hunting widow.
Yes, a hunting widow. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, listen, I did all this. I did it, not just for me. I did it for us. And now I need to do this for me.
Yeah.
And I had to like really explain it to her. And then once I did, she could notice I'm in a better mood. I'm more pleasant to be around because I've had time to go out and do that.
Incredible. Once again, guys, everybody listening, Luke's wife, she's awesome. I've never met her. I don't even need to meet her to know that she is. She sounds like an awesome
Don't give her
woman.
too much credit, but yes, she is amazing. She is 1 in a million.
Okay, but like, come on, listen to that. You were able to explain something to her logically. She noticed it, and then carrying forward, she was like,
"Oh no, she still gives me crap at times, but it's not as bad. It's not as bad as it was when it first started." You know what I'm saying? Once I explained that to her, she gets it. She knows. Now, the difference is she's still mad at me if I'm spending a week out there and haven't brought home any meat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's like, yeah, you just wasted a whole bunch of time. You could have been doing this or doing that. Or
Yeah.
Like that's realistic. But to be honest, yes, I'm very lucky. She is 1 in a million, I believe. Truly special, and I think compatibility with each other and understanding and ability to trust each other and realize and be sympathetic to each other's needs are very important. But everything has to be reciprocal.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then one person is just giving, another person is just taking, and eventually something breaks. I've seen it. I've got lots of friends like that. And then they always say the same thing.
I know somebody who's got.
Well, yeah, I do. Like I said, I've got lots of friends like that, Clay. And I think the biggest thing, though, is, I mean, my wife and I dated for 7 years, and then we're engaged for a year, and then we've been married. Oh, gosh, she's going to get mad if she ever listens to this. I think we're going on 14 years next spring.
Oh, wow.
Oh, 12 or 13 years, I think. Yeah.
Well,
so
at least your first guess was more. It's a good thing, right?
It always feels like more. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But no, I just, a lot of people, they, you can't be willing to compromise on everything in the beginning and expect to not compromise later on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you give up everything for somebody in the beginning of a relationship, I don't think you can later on go, well, I've gave you so much then. Why I'm not going to do that now, because that's a behavior, it's a pattern that they're going to expect.
Yep.
You know?
I know. I have learned that lesson and been burned, by that lesson.
Yeah.
So
You're a man scorned right now.
I just basically have to,
You're going to give up a lot this hunting season, like we were kind of talking about.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like in future hunting seasons. So say there is a new lady that comes along.
Yeah, you got to let her know.
I mean, yeah, instantaneously. Like it's like hunting is a part of my life.
Yes, I am man. I am hunter. I will cater to your needs, but cater to mine.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be times where I will not be around, and there's also times that I'm okay with you doing your thing, whatever your outlet is. That's the problem I struggled with for a long time. Before we had kids even, like I used to hunt all the time. She used to get mad at me then too. But she didn't understand it then because she had no creative outlet or anything for herself.
Yeah.
And I was like, find something you're passionate about. And we tried a bunch of different stuff, and I was okay with buying her different craft making things or whatever it was for that hot minute. And now she's got kids that occupy time. I don't mean that in a bad way. Like I'm not a dad that just runs away, but now that occupies her time to where she doesn't have time to be super pissed at me because she's mad at the kids that are making a mess on the floor at the very moment.
Yeah.
As we're talking.
Yeah. Awesome.
So I'll go up and finish that disciplinary action probably in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Can you hear that or no?
No, I can't hear that.
Yeah. But I don't know. So I mean, back to the whole thing though. I'm still tuning my bow, getting it perfect. Or it's nothing's perfect, but like I still haven't went out hunting yet for deer season.
Yeah, but it just started 3 days ago?
3 days ago, and I probably won't go out this Saturday because I feel like it's more important for me to get all the junk put away so I can have peace of mind knowing I can actually park my car in the garage this winter.
Yeah.
And my wife's car, because right now it's just chaos with kids' stuff.
Yeah.
Bikes and scooters and everything. And they pretty much took free reign of the garage, and I'm going to have to take it back this weekend.
Yeah.
So I will sacrifice another weekend in order to do that and can meat and prepare for the bison hunt, which
that's going to be exciting.
I am looking forward to. It's pretty cool. And then though, I started thinking about it and I'm like, okay, after I take this bison to the processor, and it's going to take like a day and a half or 2 days before I could pick it up, right? So I'm like, I got to find something to do out there. And I started thinking maybe I should bring a shotgun and an upland vest and get find a place to go pheasant hunting.
Oh, definitely should.
It would suck without a dog though, probably. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what my odds are, with the dog without, but I'm guessing they're vastly increased with the dog.
I don't know. I mean, I got a friend that goes out every year. The pheasant hunting, I think, is like his favorite type of hunting.
Okay.
He goes out to North Dakota every year.
Yeah.
No dog. He limits out every day that he's out there.
I think it's like 3 a day there, or 4 a day,
or whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it's a possibility, but that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, that might be the thing to do. And then on top of it, you're getting some miles in, and I don't know. It could be brutal though. Who knows how cold it'll be in freaking end of November.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow, that's when the hunt is?
Yeah. November 20 something.
And it's in Wyoming?
No, South Dakota.
Oh, South Dakota. Okay. All right, yeah. Dang, dude. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should hunt whatever you can while you're out there.
I'm thinking I might. Yeah.
Yeah, we have pheasant here in Michigan, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like,
We have it here, but they stock the fields.
yeah, it's like, it's like stocked. It's like kind of lame. You know, you buy your license and you just go to these places where they release pheasants, and you're like,
yeah,
this is kind of lame.
yeah,
I mean,
pretty much.
I don't know, but you know what's hilarious is they do that, but not many people are aware of this. I used to live in Metro Detroit. Pheasants are now a native, or not native. They are a local part of the Detroit landscape now, like pheasants.
Well, then we can call them natives. I don't have a problem with that, Clay. They're
Well,
not a native species, but they have become a native inhabitant.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, not like downtown Detroit. You know, like if you drive through it, there's a lot of like fields and open stuff like that.
Is there as many abandoned buildings and like burned out, like bombed out buildings as like there used to be, or is that getting cleaned up? Like
I haven't.
that I shouldn't
mean,
say bombed
yeah.
out, but they look like they're bombed out. Like there's some
Yeah, I mean,
some
they
spots in
definitely were.
Detroit that like look like you might be driving through like the streets of Baghdad at some
Yep.
point. Yeah.
There definitely were. I mean, I lived there for 8 years in Metro Detroit,
Yeah.
and yeah, it looked like sometimes like that. Like you'd go, oh, clearly there was
be
a
on this
war
block. Yeah.
here. Yeah.
That's
But
crazy.
The
That's
urban
crazy.
the urban legend goes that a lot of the houses that got burned down were done on Devil's Night. Devil's Night is a traditional Detroit thing, and
What the hell is that? Like, is that like the Purge?
it is the night before Halloween. It's Devil's Night, and typically, Detroit history, tons and tons of houses get set on fire. Right now,
Why?
this is the thing. They always blamed it on kids, but what they really think it is moms living in areas, and they'd have these crackheads and drug dealers inhabiting these houses,
Yep, the
and
abandoned.
the moms would set them things on fire so that they could get them out of the neighborhood.
I get it
And
now.
then they blame it on teenagers, like, oh, stupid punk kids.
Fair enough. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
What's sad though is some of those houses, like, I love the craftsman era of homes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a wonderful home, you know, like the different detailing and like the woodwork and all that stuff. And like a lot of those are like craftsman homes and then like giant Victorian era homes, like,
Yeah.
that just gone, torched.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. And on that bright note, I do have to cut myself off here because I think we've been talking for about a half an hour or so.
Yeah.
And
No,
so,
it's all good. All good, Clay. Yeah. Good luck on what you do get out and hunt.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're successful.
Oh, I had to say one more thing. I did actually go out with my son today. We shot a couple squirrels. We just went out for 45 minutes.
So you got squirrels.
Yeah, we shot 2 squirrels.
Did your dog retrieve them?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Did he eat their
loved it.
heads?
He did not eat their heads.
Okay.
He doesn't eat squirrels. I don't know what's wrong with him.
What kind of lame dog is that?
Yeah, I give him the heads and I'll throw him the stuff and he doesn't. But anyway, what I was gonna say is my son is obsessed with shooting this 22 Magnum.
Yeah.
And he hit a squirrel up in the tree, but it blew the side off of a squirrel.
Yeah.
Like its whole, like he hit it in the side and totally gutted the thing all in one go. And
Still
just
got
like
the legs
this,
off it, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It was just like so disturbed. I was like, what happened? Like,
Overkill, son. Overkill.
Yeah.
But man, 22 mag's expensive to shoot these days.
He loves that gun. It's an iron sights gun, you know. He loves it.
If
but
he's into it, he does good with it. Let him roll with it, man.
yeah. I mean, I
Tell him to
personally
get a
think
job
it's
to start buying the ammo, but
yeah. Yeah, he's definitely got to. I mean, he's got money. He's got to buy his own ammo
Yeah.
for that thing because yeah, it's really expensive.
I think last time I looked, and I know it's more than that, but last time I looked, it was like $25 for a box of like 25 or something,
Wow.
or
Yeah.
$25 for a box of 20. Yeah.
I know. Sometimes he'll be like, "Hey, can I take a shot at that?" Like there'll be a squirrel like way up in a tree. You know, we're trying to like get it to come down, and I'll like shoot at it, and like to get it moving. You know, because sometimes it's like you can see like their tail, right? And you want them to start moving. And he's like, "Can I shoot at it?" No, you're not using that ammo for that. Let me use mine,
Yeah.
chief.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. That's cool. So I'm glad you got out and did something and got some squirrels. What are you going to do with them?
I don't know.
Braise
No
them?
idea. I'm gonna probably be making some pasties here in a couple days
Ooh.
yeah. So
I
I've been practicing because I got to do some filming with some pasties here.
want a pasty.
Well, make them, man.
No, you make them for me, and I'll eat them.
And I'll
come
mail them
up.
to you.
No, I'll come
Oh,
up.
okay.
But they got to
All
be
right, so
gluten free, so that's your
Yeah, ooh.
stipulation.
That's a hard one. I guess I'd have to figure that one out. Yeah,
Yep.
a gluten-free
All right.
pasty.
Well, on that note, let's call it a night, and
All right.
talk to you soon.
See ya.
And once again, thank you so much for listening to the Publicly Challenged podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, please subscribe on whatever platform it is you're listening to. Also, if you could leave a review, that would help us out. And you can check us out on Instagram or at publiclychallenged.com. And once again, thank you so much for listening to the show.